That bell means it's time to start this fight. Wow, that punch caught him completely off guard and sent him down.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That punch ends up off target. Beautiful punch puts his opponent. Man!
He's already dead.
Welcome to the 10th part of our 419,000 part series, Better Know Speedrunner. Today, we'll learn more about JPin88. JPin currently holds one of the most unique records in speedrunning. He's literally the most prolific runner in the world, holding the top spot of most unique video games played on speedrun.com. As of recording, he has submitted runs for over 500 different games. A quick note before we get started: if you're a speedrunner yourself and you're interested in being featured in this series, hit me up on Discord or simply let me know in the comments below. JPin88 is a 21-year-old student of music production from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. When he's not setting a new world record in a video game chosen at random, you can find him playing sports, gaming casually, or making music.
On the beat! Do flat! Do flat! Do flat!
Jay's start in speedrunning, streaming, and content creation was as rocky as you could imagine. If you've ever used your equipment as an excuse to procrastinate recording runs, listen up. Jay embodies the classic adage to just use what you've got, and has never let hardware limitations keep him from doing what he loves.
One day while I was watching a gaming stream, I just got randomly inspired to try it out myself. Although at the time, I pretty much had a laptop that had a lot of shutdown issues, so I guess it was sort of like a planning phase, randomly trying to test stuff out on OBS. A year later, 2016, within the fall, finally got a new laptop, and it wasn't exactly like a gaming laptop, but it was a much better upgraded laptop. Then a year later, in 2017, kind of started getting into IRL streams while I was still trying to work some things out on OBS, and the end of 2017, in December, was when I finally got into gaming streams. So I believe the first game that I was streaming at the time had to have been Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. And first actual year was actually pretty good for me. As far as my first year on YouTube had gone, which to this day, it's been about 8 years. It was honestly exciting, but it felt weird in a way. Originally, my first upload was Sonic the Hedgehog 3 special stages. I believe the next set of videos that I did was a couple of Sonic ROM hacks. So 4 game captures were pretty much a thing for me. I was basically recording the gameplays off of an iPod, which at the time as well, it was still a thing, so yeah. Yeah, really just trying to get into it. I really had myself thinking, what would it be like if I had started my own YouTube channel and really like post my own videos?
With over 500 games under his belt, it's no wonder that there are some very interesting titles peppered in. And these extend to some of his most notable games he's ever watched and played. A few of Jay's firsts are as nostalgic as they are unfamiliar.
I believe the first speedrunner that I've ever watched would be a YouTuber by the name Burton. Which he did a single segment speedrun of Shadow the Hedgehog many years ago. First game I've ever learned to run would actually be Mega Man The Power Battle, which was on arcade emulator main. One game that I would play again for the very first time would, believe it or not, be a game called Pajama Sam's Sockworks. I could really see myself like really speedrunning it, being able to, I guess, relearn everything. I mean, it's a pretty simple-minded game, mainly because it's been a childhood game that I can honestly truly never forget. And so, yeah. My first world record would go towards a game called Spy Muppets: A License to Croak. Which I originally knew this game on PC as a kid. It didn't really take long for me. I guess since I really knew the game pretty well, I knew it took me about a good 15 to 20 minutes just to really try to get in the feel of speedrunning the game. But between the two versions of PC and Game Boy Advance, there's nothing really different. Now, at the time of speedrunning the game as well though, the leaderboard was empty, so it was a free world record, so yeah. Still though, my heart was racing. Like, even though to this day though, it's third place, I still feel like, you know, at the time that I had finished the run though, I was just pretty excited. Even on like my very first world record in a game that I love playing, let alone like in any game in general.
It's a common trend with speedrunners that, beside the allure of self-improvement or competition with others, a primary joy of the hobby is found in sharing it with others.
You-hoo.
Of the hundreds of achievements J-Pin has gathered, it was actually performing in his first marathon that he remembers with the most pride.
There's plenty of proud achievements that I can recall in streaming and speedrunning. To highlight one of them, it would honestly be taking part in my first marathon, which goes back to November of 2018. A month prior, I was invited to a speedrun marathon called No Reset at a gaming event in my area in Toronto. And the nice thing about it though is that it was my very first time going into like an event like this, so I was definitely pretty excited for it. The game that I was running at the time was Sonic 3D Blast, but specifically a ROM hack called Sonic 3D Blast No Flickies. At the time though too, I was definitely grinding the game a lot. So yeah, I was pretty excited to actually showcase this at an event. I can't lie though, at the time that I was showcasing it, like before I was actually starting, I was pretty nervous and thinking how to really explain certain tricks. But then during the moment, I was pretty calm, cool, and collected, so it turned out better than how I thought it would be. A lot of people at the event that were watching even say that it was one of their favorite runs, so I mean, yeah, it was. I was pretty happy about that.
While not normally a fan of glitched runs, there is one particular clip in a Sonic game that Jay found himself. A modification on an existing strat, but with a twist that works very well as a backup.
One satisfying strat that I learned would come from a Sonic ROM hack known as Sonic Megamix. In a specific level here called Metallic Base Act 3, I was playing around in the beginning of the act, thinking if there was a way to interact with the same skip like in the current world record, and at one point I thought rolling towards slanted floor would eventually work, just needing to hit something right. But then had found something a lot better. So what I had done was spin dashing towards the slanted floor, but then getting a low level of height to easily get into the slanted floor and then hold left, find the way to the end of the level. Just like that. I call it an alternate route if the original strat from the world record didn't work out, but my advice to runners that come across this level would definitely be just simply enough practice, you know? Practice makes perfect.
I'm sure it comes as no surprise that someone with a resume as long as his would also have a sizable list of inspirations, all of which are Sonic related, but each offering something a little different from the next.
I've definitely been running a lot of Sonic titles, but Worcester, Sega Junkie, The Only Kid, and Flying Fox. They're definitely like the main inspirations for me for mainly like the Genesis titles. Been having a lot of fun with it, and like watching all of their runs have definitely been interesting to me. Next to that would be a runner by the name of Ben in Sweden. He's definitely helped me learn the majority of glitches in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. I've been more of a glitchless runner, but I guess seeing his runs and a couple of other individuals have been pretty interesting. I never really thought that I would get into doing glitchless. I would like to say he's definitely helped me out with a couple of runs that I have done in the game, but I have yet to really come back and really just do it again. My last three here, runners by the name of Dark Spine Sonic, a Talon 2461, and Critical Side, which they've inspired me to really start running Sonic Riders, potentially start Sonic Heroes, Adventure 2 Battle, DX, Shadow the Hedgehog, and Sonic Colors.
As Jay's audience grew, he was faced with a scenario almost every streamer fears, his audience shrinking. The notorious pigeonhole of speedrunning had caught him, and it was difficult to run other games lest his viewers jump ship. Jay's solution isn't complicated, but it's quite possibly the best advice anyone could offer for this situation.
As I started doing a mix of Sonic and various other games, I saw a big difference on how people were viewing the streams and runs. If I were running a Sonic game, there were a lot of viewers that would come by. But if it were other games that I feel like playing, then it would only be probably like 2 or 3 people who would watch. I think at one point while I was streaming a game called Demon Star, I just had randomly felt worried for like a certain while, just based on how I was noticing this kind of stuff. To be honest though, I overcame it just by simply not worrying about any of that kind of thing at all. Whether it was streaming or videos, I pretty much just streamed games in a variety to have fun in the end. Let's go! Let's go! Sub 50! Let's go! That's a huge improvement.
Before we go, I'd like to give a huge shout out to JPin88 for taking the time to answer the questions for this feature. You can find links to his YouTube, Twitch channel, and Twitter in the description below. Don't forget to give him a follow. I hope you enjoyed today's Better Know a Speedrunner. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Also, the entire month of October is dedicated to highlighting several horror game speedrunners, so hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss it. As usual, I'd love any and all feedback you may have, so just leave it in the comments below. Finally, a special thanks to our super generous Patreon supporters, Totally Not a Mimic and Happy Code Monkey. And if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next run.